let's get back to this. Mike Jacoba's poetry and musical criticism have appeared in over 400 plus magazines and periodicals, but have generated no reportable income. You can add this show tonight to that list. Full-length collections of chapbooks include Smitten by I thought that was Smitten by Herpes, but it's not. Harpies and Shiny Banjo Catfish, Eve's Venom, and Purgatory Road. His work has appeared in anthologies all over the place. Right now, he is the president of Calling All Poets. Oh, we have another president in the room. In New Poets, New York, and producer of Cast's archival recordings from the Calling All Poets reading series, which I've been honored to be a featured poet at. And it's a really, really great scene down there. So if you're ever down in the Hudson Valley, make sure you check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, our featured poet tonight, Mike Jacoba.
Thank you, everybody. What was I going to say? It's kind of like a presidential summit, if you want to look at it that way.
Presidentials. We'll be talking about some big deals. We're going to make some
really
big
big
deals.
Really important. Really
important.
Really
Great.
Very bigly.
He knows more than the generals.
And I really do have to find out how Emily made up County Borough.
We're going to study later.
Unlike Webster, I cannot leaven our aberrant slang. Car bomb, carnage, glacial melt, shrill chirping words make narration. Draft upon draft disorders these rooms I drift forlornly. Between con and comma, the words of compassion have gone from my head. They are gutless reeds, two-bit tomes and hollers without specifics that pinion on modesty and deceit, rifle and abandon. Full of hazard, I sleep with one eye open, the voice inside my head getting louder. All my mortality has slipped to my hips. They say Locatelli never played a bad note. A letter from my sister, whom I haven't seen in years, concedes her favorite wishes for us to meet next spring. Mrs. Aiken, a slight anxious widow without drum or tenor, apologizes amply for not getting the letter to me sooner. It was stuck in my stocking, she says, in lieu of seduction. No worries, I say. It's only my sister and her dire dead letters, the same one she sends me year after year. But something emerges that sways her away. Fungal infections, a rear-end rash. Vicky's got the hiccups and I wish I had a pillow to put over her face, she writes. Such brave, fetching fancies. To be honest, our muscle relaxants make us kin. I don't even know her mother, nor she mine. But we favor unalloyed debate through the mail. Pony Express preferred.
Yeah.
This is called Gravity Gets Us All. Turning back the mileage is no easy task. Once the lines and crow's feet impede upon the mask, the doctors cut and the doctors stitch and they make museum pieces, but no matter how much you iron, babe, you're bound to see the creases. Gravity gets us all, baby. Gravity gets us all. Tummy in, shoulders back, baggy shirts to hide the slack, couch zucchini garden moans, a tad of roomy in my bones, a facelift, a breast transplant, all to help these bad romance. Bags of sagging cellulite, skin now hangs that once was tight. Gravity gets us all, baby. Gravity gets us all. So we paid for Botox days, 2 shots of minoxidil. Yes, we must live on and on, just let the clock stand still. The doctors cut, the doctors stitch, they make museum pieces, No matter how much you iron, babe, you're bound to see the creases. Gravity gets us all, baby. Gravity gets us all. This is one of the first ones I wrote upon the new administration, so you're going to have to bear with me. This is called Cloudland. I came upon a man bruising himself with stones. The Orange King decrees it, he cries. The gravel cutting his skin, his blood pooling at the base, at the foot of a wall. It's meant to keep us in, not them out, I told him, or at least I tried to tell him above his chanting. But his children soon joined in. Then his church and his union hall. At Potter's Field we assemble our colorful rags, an army stumbling upon itself, sharing selfies, unlike the regiment reclaiming ground for the Lord, Baron, King. I have tried real hard to keep politics out of these things, but I just can't. We either advance each day or we don't. And some will fall, and some will turn, and some will make it. Just like Martin said. All I remember is birds falling. A feather rain of borrowed heft. A harsh, dead-weight wind. Fuck, did I just write that? Shit, that's a pretty cool line if one I've ever written. You gotta admit that a feathered rain of borrowed heft is very quotable. And thus debatable, contrary and catastrophic, like furious men who rule once great nations. Shit, this one's fucking with me through all the hoops and whistles, and it's like hitting an abutment, crashing the main gate of empire. Holy fuck! Crashing the main gate of empire? Is that a rally sign for the commoner's wing or what? Seriously, where does this shit come from sometimes? I have no clue, but I sweep the floor regularly, and this story unfolds without sorrow. I never did make it back to Topeka. What was the point? There was bullshit in every direction. Just like here. Up and down, forward, back, horizon to horizon, moon to moon, and Grandma's down 8 fingers and falling in her chili and chips as Pop swears a quick drawer and little Lena gets off the bus and walks into dim-lit, dim-wit, gin-lit gin house that only the brave defy, which is why I'm here, hiding behind happy hour, my religion lost and my faith failing fast, each dark minute hauling itself forward, towards the water, towards the morsel, towards the dead legends I call my own and number myself among. We jump off in droves, the chasm yawning, the darkness rushes by, the mothball freighters falling twice as fast. Just grow soldiers, they say, reminding me a lot of what I heard back in Topeka, where prairie winds blow rust and water mains burst just like that. Just like everything else neglected by its people, dismissed as a political problem, when in fact, it's a cultural one. A question of folklore and the lack thereof. No present, no past, no holds barred when it comes to the lies and the dollars it makes. Squalor, contempt, a breed I've indebted myself, a ruined lineage, just like Topeka. Since we mentioned Emily a little earlier, this is called Gathered Here. Here's hoping that as you lay me down, you gathered here will not turn on me or bewilder the bride with your delusions. We're gathered here because we danced without penance, fused in a chord no army could read, called upon wise men for mercy, and called upon women for love. I hate the whole idea of greatest hits, but this one seems to be becoming one. And it's called Still Life with Mandolin. In this city of tall women intent on getting somewhere, the bedlam is built in. The chaos concurrent with everyday life. A swirl in clouds of estrogen. I pilot my way without getting hurt. Murder and mayhem engage my eye. Sales girls look at me like I have 6 heads. Which I do, by the way, because I'm really stoned and trying to purchase a book about flogging with a credit card long since expired. And a smile discolored by years of red wine. A tall order of diplomacy is needed. So I borrow 50 from a chanteuse who only knows 2 songs and sings them over. And fucking over. And she sings them over. And over. And over. Annoyingly. Whenever it is I'm trying to read. I think this was the first one of the new administration, I think. And it's called Nephrite Jade. And you guys know that it really is, and I really am admitting something here in the very first line. I may not be the brightest bulb, but I know it's a shell game, which by high definition is a con we should all be used to and on the orange alert for, given the nature of our politics, given our propensity for swindle, our eagerness to take each other to the cleaners and turn the same trick again and again in the name of democracy, freedom, the intentional perversity of truth, a circumnavigation of facts, fiction, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, what's more sleight of hand than voting? Like ancient Greece, like old New York, the sharps play the urban decay, stoke the diaspora, stalk the unwashed and the unimagined. Voting. It's a gesture at most, nothing conclusive. A tally the big boys ignore because they know better, or at least they say they do and we readily believe. Bereft of higher ground, they meet our standards, exceed expectations, give birth to new devils, say our voice matters and then punch mute. What's it going to take, guys, huh? How much of how little do you want them to divide? Despoil, maraud, and plunder. There's got to be a breaking point. Everyone has one, and thus, too, each mom. Must we resign to camps and shit in dark holes? Our children and elders, their soldiers and whores, pushing their product down the old Silk Road, over the grand peaks we once called our own until they blew them up for coal and passage, and we marched in line, our burden, their trade. I know most of you here are writers, and I know we all have the same practice. We come up with a line, or we come up with a phrase, or we come up with an idea, and we write it down. And then we can't find a place to put it. And then we transfer it from a napkin to a notebook, to a notebook, to a napkin, and we try it here, and it doesn't work. We cross it out again, we put it in another notebook. This is a collection of those lines because I got tired of carrying them around. And this is called Clearinghouse. I never could find a good use for acoustic shadows, so I'm putting it right here next to Northern West. After 12 years of transfer from notebook to napkin to notebook, a comic dance of retrofit has found its charnel ground. Vague pronouncements is another often successfully placed. And please, welcome to the room, the noir flicker where my head used to be. Have you heard the one about the clock doctor who stops me in the street 38 years to the day of his first house call to tell me how he cured the chimes in my father's grandfather clock by removing my porn from the pendulum's arc? No. No, you haven't. Because I just made it up. I do that from time to time with wild corpuscle abandon. Because having been such previously, my personality shards are all smoothed over. No edge, no glare, no backstage help through the bankrupt sprawl where a capsized blonde places her sucker bed in the dead, dry dust of war ends. Thank you. I love being here in Albany. I really do.
So do we. Nowhere else will have us.
I know, it's like a prisoner's state, isn't it? It's kind of like
Really?
what Australia used to be.
Yep.
This is called Device. It's been a while and my heart and the vodka know it. How many times you said no here, goodbye here. In dribs and drabs, I hear the trains, their riders expecting normal, but not tonight. Tonight I have other plans and they include immolation. Time itself stopping, breath, pulse, this rabid drill. An 8-ball thunders down my veins. I've come back to redistribute the mayhem and hand in my notice, alerting you all to my sincere exhaustion. My firewall kilned by distress, distrust, and detox. I'm off everything now and feeling better than ever. Free to object and make my argument louder than your curbside chatter. So I put a device here. And I place a device there. And I put one over here. And one by the tracks, and one by the bridge, and one by the entrance to the ER. Some of us will make it, and some of us won't. But isn't that the running joke behind learning from the past? We know there's a growing army like me out there, skirting the shadows, afraid of the day, and still we get on those trains, thinking we'll get home. Excuse me for outwardly processing, but I can't control myself these days. There's too much to masticate and castigate not to. But I'm low on patience and need action, abolition, absolution, that this statecraft between us, between the world, is more than funds and suppression, more than archived warheads and blanching at skin darker than cardboard. I don't buy it anymore. It's not policy, it's a theology. And the faster we make that distinction, the better. God cannot lead us all into battle, but each will claim his banner. And you know the shitstorm that shadows that. Tin-cut messiahs yell for blood and everyone bleeds. We all become bovine and crave a good steak with our pillaged wine, our sterling spoons. We feed our children ours, we feed their children ours, and that has got to stop. Because I will not spend my golden years mucking out the shit of kings, bleaching their chambers of virgin blood, lighting their pyres by burning my own. I've been writing about sisters lately. I don't genetically have one, but I've been writing a lot about sisters. And this is called Passing Shower. I come from a long line of weathermen who swore no storm a passing shower. As the last son before 9 daughters, all of whom shattered the glass ceiling by founding girlweather.com, I kept the website current. Crazy weather was normal now and getting worse. Mary swore the extinction winter was tomorrow. Beth saw rain, sad girl that she was. Tina liked the lonely cool of autumn. Molly, her twin, loved upheaval. Kate married tight convolutions, had 4 kids, and didn't give a damn which way the wind blew. Amber and Anita, the second twins, loved the New York heat. Salacious climbs were Annie's bag. I swear by sweat, she'd say. Each one was crazier than a shithouse rat. All except for Mo, who kept it real. A storm's a-comin', she'd fondly say. It really is good to see you guys. I'm glad you're all here. Thank you for coming, Nick.
Mike, thank you.
Mary, thank you. You all know me by this time. Bobby, thank you. Glenn, Tony, Sally, Dan, Tom, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm the next guy. The one who counts the fractions. The one who wipes the toilet seat. Because, well, you know, that's the next guy's job. Sure, it keeps me busy, but I'd like an hour off, you see? Because maintaining Trump Tower is not the career I envisioned before 3 minimums took my breath away. Who swept up after Adam was evicted? Who do you think mucked out Noah's menagerie? It's always the next guy who'll feed the hungry, sit in the sticky cinema seats before gimping to the finish line of labor's lengthy day. Go on, go ahead, I got it. The broken stairs, the leaky pipe, the faulty education. Go on, go ahead, I got it, don't look back. I've got your back, because I'm the next guy, see? This one's becoming kind of like a greatest hits too. It just got published in several places and blah, blah, blah. And it's called Cheering the Ponies with God. With my face against the cloud and my ass against the burner, I'm cheering the ponies with God. Hold my colt. God nods and collects in the thing. Always stick with the filly, he says. And of course he's right. What other choice is there for a guy still carrying his chapbooks with him hoping for a sale? But I know better and I let God talk. I love this ramshackle town, he says, with a genuine smile on his face and a small rain without end in his eyes. You guys are driving me crazy, he tells the beer man. And you, pointing at me, he says, you're no better. Bogarting the chips and salsa. I hadn't noticed. So I moved on to the next topic. What about Monet's light, I asked, hoping he'd pick a winner before the last race. It colors heaven, he says, like some stock answer he pulled from his hat. But he didn't have a hat, just a carefree cloud that I guess he plucked from Saturn's tears. Sounds pretty, I say, trying not to sound too eager or envious. Trying to hold the divine tighter than I had just a few moments before when I didn't redress, rejoin, or redeem. It is, he says, and Garcia stitches sunlight solos while Ella sings the blues. We're in the backstretch, God and I, coming to the understanding that we both tried our best. Hey, you know, you were human once too, I say in self-defense. I know, he says, slipping me the winning ticket. And like always, it is something else, someone else, some eclipse of cognition and character. I come from a fine home, but veered left as the driveway crumbled. Bad with maps, some come to dance. Some just come. Hunt, gather. I coasted without conscience, but so what? I breathe beyond the contractual, so what? I talk shit, so what? I shit blind, so what? We've deleted common matter and I'm a class clown. Hollering, punk, pessimist. But I digress and never leave the house in a suit and tie. That's for later when the eulogies cast about for their own. When the auditor goes deep and the angel in charge of admissions asks for my picture ID. I've never gone straight from A to B, but I bear no promise. The scripted ruse is a cylindrical beast. Small words mocking time, alpha, omega, and all in between. I've got 2 or 3 more and then we'll call it. This is called Cold Shot. I have studied the wisdom of rot like scripture. The process of decay overwhelming. Animal, vegetable, matters not. Frondescent styles. Policy and prudence, morally corrupt. Vultures girdle, waiting for the last man to fall. the last woman to lapse. And what if that destiny falls on your shoulders? What you gonna do then, boyo? Cry for mommy? Cry for daddy? Cry for God? Cry for the idiot king to redeem you? From what? Your tireless mathematics and body count? Win, lose? It's all been a draw. It's all been risky business. The adventure of the wheel. A cold shot in the dark. Breathing machine. Man, this room is just about as bright as an emergency room. It's all lumped in my brain right now, but I do recall another poem you didn't read about the mayhem genius who took great lengths to ensure each mourner had enough rope, scotch tape, and a 6-foot ladder. Small provisions, admittedly, but he was running out of tricks. His old brain didn't click like it used to. You reach a point where the ground gives way, he told his nurse, a bright young gal with a bright young future, until, well, you know, they turn out the lights and the breathing machine hushes the widow's room. All right, this next one, we had the pleasure down there at New Paltz at Albany Poets in December to have not only Cheryl read, but Guy read. And Guy read this poem, and I just fell in love with this thing. And I said, you got to get me a copy of that. And he was like flabbergasted. He was like, oh, dude, that is so great. And I was like, why? I really like it. And he was like, no, I thought of you when I wrote it. And I was like, ah. So this is called Bored. It's by Guy Reed. If you haven't read him or heard him, look him up. He's there. Lives in Saugerties. And this is called Bored. I just hope I can get through it. One can get laid, get drunk, get high, eat, food, travel, make money to afford these things, gamble it for no more, go to work, be loved, be in love, all or none or all of the above. One can play a game or watch a game, commune with the God of your choice, listen to silence, perform science experiments like the woods, hike the woods, hunt, fish, exercise, garden, cook, go to a museum, learn a language, listen to music, practice arts and crafts. Be angry about something and talk about it. Be happy about something and talk about that. Watch TV, watch the clouds, be sick, read a book, go to the movies, look out a window, sleep, but really, what the fuck else is there to do? We're bored. The human race is bored. We just keep doing more of the same year after year. If we weren't so hell-bent on survival or buying stuff every day, we'd be beating each other's brains out or screwing each other's brains out or eating and shitting our own brains out, or we'd be starving to death. It's biology. There is nothing else to fucking do, and everything's been done before. And people keep dying. We keep killing each other for the same old reasons, but we find new ways to do it. But seriously, don't you think every manner of perversion has been explored already? We keep trying to find new ways to turn our brains on while not thinking at the same time. We want nirvana all the time and can't find it or create it. Other than drugs and technology, what is advancing? Time? Hell no. We invented that centuries ago to keep from being bored. We just don't know what else to do. What else there is to do, so we die. Simple. We're just fucking bored. We need a new race to literally drop out of the sky or gain a new super skill. Like telekinesis with ease, or we evolve a third arm and a hand, or 2 more legs and feet. We need something new, completely and totally new to do or to grasp our attention and imagination for a while. Otherwise, we just keep doing the same old shit until the lights go out.
Yeah.
Great
guy.
I love this. This is the last one. It's a real oldie, but I've been doing it lately. And it was written in Bearsville when we used to do, actually I'm not sure if they still do it, but they used to do the Woodstock Poetry Festival. And Sharon Olds was the main speaker, and she had sold out Bearsville Theater. And Ellie and I were there, and Cheryl was there, and several other folks whose names you recognize, but I can't remember who was there. And Billy Collins was the poet laureate at the time. And if you've seen pictures of Billy, he's always very disheveled. And he's walking around looking for a seat. You know, you find an empty one and some go. And you find another empty one. No, it's being safe. This is called Poetic Justice. Bearsville, August 25th, 2002. So there he was. The poet laureate. Sleepy and wrinkled and looking for a seat. Now, many things in this good life have conspired to separate me from Mr. Collins. He gets big bucks to read. The most I've ever made was $125 at a college once, and I ain't making anything tonight. He's got a new book while I bind my own and give them weird names. He lives in northern Westchester while I abide in the Gums. And I'm willing to wager his pronouns to my proverbs. Emily's prettier too. But for today, the most obvious difference between me and our bemused poet laureate is a simple one. I've got my seat.
Yeah!
Guess that's just nature sticking up for us little guys. Thank you, Albany.